South Bay, how's everyone doing? Hey, Nat, can you hear me okay? Natalie, can we hear? Just want to make sure the mics are. Testing.
It would sound better if you turned on the mic for your laptop.
Mic for my laptop. Okay. Let's see here. All right, can you hear me okay now?
Much better.
Beautiful. All right. Can we start over again? Yeah. All right. Good afternoon, KW South Bay. How's everyone doing? All right, we've got a lot going on today, so let's get started. Next slide, please. All right, who wants to give us our mission and our beliefs? Anyone want to volunteer? Come on. Cheyenne volunteered last time. Lauren.
Simon, is it paused?
Values of your company align with the own real. Yeah, ready?
Go for it.
Okay.
I had it up on me. That's okay.
Our belief, when the values of your company align with your own beliefs, you know you found a professional home.
Wonderful. Love it. Thanks for volunteer. Our vision is to achieve amazing professionals and personal development so that KW South Bay remains the agency of choice. Go, Simon. Awesome. All right, let's go ahead and continue. But before I continue, I want to introduce you to a guest. This is Donna. She's checking out our office.
Oh, we are the best behavior guys.
Please don't. Welcome, Donna. To the office. All right, let's go ahead and continue.
Oh, no. That's right.
Oh my.
Look
Look at this. So we want to congratulate Lillian Wang. This is baby Charlotte. Isn't she adorable? Look at that.
Oh, Lily.
Yeah. Leanne's on the call as well. So, hey, Leanne, thank you so much. Congratulations. How's the baby doing?
Not selling houses, you're making babies. Exactly. That's production anyway.
I don't know if Lillian can hear us.
Yeah, no, she's doing good. She's still in the NICU, but she will come home hopefully this weekend or next week.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. She is so adorable. Awesome. I'm having some issues with my computer, so heck, we're just going to go with this now. All right, let's go ahead and continue. All right, a motivational minute. Life is like riding a bicycle. To keep your balance, you must keep moving, right? Very important. Balanced life, right? Remember, we always say that once you get into real estate, you understand the dynamics to it. And if you fall off for a bit, you can always come back and know, okay, it's like riding that bicycle. So I love this motivational statement. Life is like riding a bicycle. To keep you balanced, you must keep moving forward, right?
I thought life was like a box of chocolates.
Well, that too. Willy Wonka too,
That's
right?
next week.
That's going to be next week's motivational minute.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Albert Einstein. Does that look like me? Well, not the gray hairs, right? Awesome. All right, let's continue. Next slide, please. All right, let's congratulate Joanne Farmer. Congratulations, Joanne. Unfortunately, she is traveling right now. taking care of business, which she should. And unfortunately, she was not able to jump on the call, but if you do happen to see her, send her a text message or a call, say, hey, congratulations on capping. And obviously, everyone knows that once you cap, you're at 100% of your commission.
He's a big bear.
Yeah, doing business. Congratulations, Joanne. Hey, Roger, author too. Also too, I actually reached out to author this morning. He says, Simon, I would love to be on the team meeting, because usually is, but he's out in the west side right now. He's a commercial agent, so he's out there looking at some inventory for his clients. So congratulations, Roger. All right, I have Ed Morrell here with our KW South Bay intern program. Let's give him a round of applause. Love the hair, by the way.
I know, right? Well, it's the outfit.
Yeah, we match.
Yeah, I got the memo. I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update on K-Score, Keller School of Real Estate, right? K-Score. Because a lot of people know, like, we have this free real estate school, but you haven't heard much about like what's going on. So we're actually, as an office, we're crushing it. We have 230 people in school right now, which is like way more than most offices have, which is really cool. So we're really proud of that. That doesn't mean all of these people are going to join our office. That just means how many people have signed up for the school, right? What's really nice about having a big pool of people in school for our office is that then we get to start picking and choosing and we don't have to take everybody. We can be like just picking the best of the best and take the people we want who we really feel are going to be successful in this office, right? I want to give you a little bit of a, like really briefly, just kind of like how that happens, right? So you guys have, there's two ways that if you know somebody who wants to be in school, there's two options you've got. One is we can give you guys the link and you can give them the link and they can go to that link and there's a form for them to fill out and boom, they're in school. If you feel comfortable and you like know this person well and you feel like you can kind of coach them along, great, do that, that's fine. Most people though, I would recommend, and this is for most people who go through this process, before they go into the school, they have to do a Zoom call with me, which I do every afternoon, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, although we change that a little bit. And during that call, I kind of prep them on what to expect when they're in the school. So unless someone's like really savvy and they're going to do it well, I have them go through the Zoom with me because I kind of prep them on what's going to happen next and all that. Because I will tell you, when you get to school, it's not like a big introduction with like this. What you get is through Kaplan, you get a link, and then when you open it up, there's a portal, and you get 3 textbooks, and you get to take an exam at the end of every textbook, and that's it. Like there's not a whole lot to it, right? It's actually super easy if you know what you're doing, and it's incredibly hard if you think like your job is to read everything cover to cover because you'll die of boredom before you get the exam. It's awful. Because unless you want like insomnia or something like that, you need some help falling asleep, I highly recommend it. But if you want to like get through school quickly, that's not the way to do it. We tell people like it's an open book exam, so really like just wait till the 18 days and if the exam pops up and that it unlocks after 18 days, and then it's open book, so you can just open up your electronic textbook there, just search for every answer and just fly through the school and then worry about passing the state exam and studying for that. Couple things you should know. One is that we have a study class for those people in school. That's Zoom every other week, and we do that with a couple people who've already gone through the school, which is kind of cool. But more pertaining to you guys is that we started an internship program, which is pretty cool. So we have like 21 people in our internship program right now. You guys probably won't see them very often, but you may see them on Wednesday afternoons after work. So Sonia, Simon, and myself are rotating and teaching this one class once a month. Well, once a week, but we each do it once a month. And that's kind of cool, right? So they get a chance to meet us. They may start appearing, not here today, but in the future, you may start seeing them on Zoom on the team meetings. That's kind of cool. And they may be on the morning mindset. We're still figuring that out. If they do, it will be as listen only. So you might see them all around there. But just know that you may see people on occasion. The big thing is we want to make sure it doesn't interfere with anything of the office being able to do business, right? But at the same time, being able to expose these people to a little more so that it's not just like you're going through school in Keller Williams South Bay, right? Anyways, I wanted to give you guys an update on all that, what's going on. It's pretty neat. It's going to help our office grow here over time. And do you guys have any questions? Go for it.
The internship, is that they shadow someone? What do they do? Because they have one, but somebody that's coming from Georgia, and she wanted to do like internship, so I wanted to know what is that place involved.
Yeah, have her talk to me. We can get her signed up for sure. It's
I already gave it to Simon.
perfect,
Yeah.
perfect.
So basically with the internship, just to kind of piggyback to what Ed is saying, it's once a week on Wednesdays at 5 o'clock. It's an hour session. We're not going to hand hold them, but we're going to give them valuable information of what to expect, right? And then also to address any questions they may have. You know, the real estate school, what's the life of a real estate agent once they get licensed, and, you know, joining
Gray
Keller
hair.
Williams. Gray hair, white beard.
Tell them about our life.
Yeah, right. But you're all welcome to come in and say hello.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, if any of you guys want to stop by on Wednesday afternoons at 5 o'clock, these people would love, I mean, they would love to meet you and just, you know, share a little tidbit of information of something from your real estate world. They're all like, you know, figuring this all out. They don't have they're not even finished their school yet. That's, you know, that's how green they are. And they would love to meet you, and, you know, you could contribute anything. Just a couple words of encouragement would do wonders for these guys.
And no horror stories.
Yeah,
No.
we saved those for these.
Wait, I used to tell horror stories all the time. I wanted to eliminate the ones that were truly prepared to go into real
That's
estate.
what I do for my team.
Yes, Diane.
Do you guys, in the schooling, when they get through their 3 courses and now it's time to like really practice and study up for the licensing exam, do you guys have like a crash course? Is there an offering as far as that goes? Because that saved me, I know, in my licensing exam.
You want?
We have recommendations for them.
Okay.
We don't have anything yet on the
I
books.
have one if you want it. On stage.
Yeah, so let me just share. So we have. Yes. Someone has the answer? So just to touch on what you're saying, Cheyenne, we recommend, you know, a live crash course, and we have, you know, different real estate schools that provide, you know, the 2-day crash course. You're absolutely 100% correct on that. The importance of doing a 2-day live crash course, and then that Monday, that Tuesday, or that week, take the state exam.
Yeah,
right?
you do it right before your, so
Yeah.
that saved me. I
So the real estate school that Keller Williams has is basically the certification to qualify to take the state exam. Once you complete, as Ed states, 18 consecutive days, you qualify to take your first. And it can be principles, practice, or legal. It doesn't matter. Get through that one, get through the second one, and get through the third. Once you complete it, and I'm just kind of prepping you, ultimately, it's our responsibility and our job to educate the student that wants to get a real estate license. Not your job. Your job is just to go out there and do business, but send them our way. You know, Ed, you know, is really detail oriented, and this is why we love Ed. You know, he understands the practical way of approaching this to make common sense to the individual that is getting into real estate for the first time. And we just go through the motions of it. Then once they complete, we'll know if their commitment is there. Then we'll have them come in, we'll sponsor their application. We'll send them to get their live scan, package their paperwork, send it to Sacramento. And now it's just a waiting period with the Department of Real Estate and us. But we're touching bases with them, checking in on a regular basis. Hey, have you heard anything from the Department of Real Estate? Now, the cool thing too is that the Department of Real Estate has made it a lot more streamlined, where now you can go online, register, submit everything online, and get the test date. Back in the day, we didn't have that luxury. We had that now as an option.
I did not have that one.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't have that.
Pretty cool.
I will say- I will say too, you know, part of why I make people who are interested, I make them go through this whole process. I make them go through a few different steps to find the Zoom call with me. And then when they're in the school, like part of why we're doing the internship program and part of why we're doing all these things, I want there to be lots of hoops for them to jump through, because that's how you find out who's
Right.
motivated. When you get people and say, hey, you want free real estate school, sign up here. There's a lot of people who sign up who we never see again. But we have them like, that's when you find out who's motivated, is like you know, you say, hey, come this Wednesday afternoon thing, and you'll get to meet us, and we'll talk some shop. And you know, that's the people who show up, like already are like, oh, this is cool. Like you start figuring out who do you want to join your office, right? because we don't want to take all 225 people we have now. Yeah, we can't do that. So we're just gonna pick the cream of the crop, which is a nice luxury to have, right? So, any other questions before I turn it back over? Yes.
I guess I have one. I have a friend who's in Lakewood.
Send them our way.
Your way?
Yeah. we can- Go ahead.
The license is good for anywhere in California. If someone's interested and they tell me like, hey, I just want to get my license, but I would never join your office, totally cool. We just won't have them come to the internship program and all that stuff, but they can still get their license through us, like no skin off our back whatsoever. Happy to help.
You want to sponsor them though?
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Can I say something?
yeah.
Very important point. Before you do, just so you know, anytime you guys refer us anyone for the school or whatever, your name is permanently attached to that lead. Like if you get attached to that person, and they will follow like all the way through the school. No matter who they meet, you're the name who's attached to that program, and we want to keep it that way because, like any referral, whether you're first a producing agent or a new possible agent, we want you guys to get credit for that. I don't like my job is not to build my downline. My job is to build your downline, right? That's James.
That's I was gonna say, let's get down the line.
So, this is actually from Orlando, Florida.
Nice.
Oh,
So these are from Rent Spree. Who's use Rent Spree? Great platform. So just to add, thank you, Ed, appreciate it. But just to add to it, yes, if you recommended a student to us and they go through the process, you get the credit, because we always ask, who was the person that led you to us? Because we want that agent to eventually fall under your downline.
When they come and ask me, I'll tell them I will sponsor them. But of course, a couple of them thought I was going to pay for the real estate school.
Well, you can say that Keller Williams will sponsor.
Yeah, I said, I'm gonna sponsor you into the company, so they'll at least put you in touch with the right people to talk with, but it's your decision. And I'm recruiting somebody that wants to work with you, where he's from West LA, he's gonna work in probably a very close office. But it doesn't make a difference, I recruit people from New York City.
Right.
You could recruit from anywhere. If you have family that wants to join real estate in Kentucky, all you gotta do is get a hold of either Simon or Ed and put them in touch. They'll call the team leader of the office. They'll set up a meeting with your person, and you'll get credit when he joins.
Well, and just to add to that, we've been getting students from everywhere. I get agents from other parts of the country. I just got someone from New York City referring a student to us because they're moving out here to Southern California. So that's the awesome part of this platform. You just never know where that lead is going to come from. And that lead becomes eventually profit share falls under your downline.
If you're not talking to every real estate agent that you're doing a transaction with or telling them about our office, you're doing yourself an injustice. Because nobody's going to help you after 30 years in real estate unless you're going to start buying income property at a very early age. Your downline is going to, my downline is maybe almost 20,000 this year. So it's just something that can never take away, and it's global. But we're gonna stop doing it to people who leave our office.
All right. Thank you, Ed. Thank you, Jan. Thank you, everyone. How do you get paid? What's the question? How do you get paid on your downline? That's what they're.
Direct deposit.
It goes, when you join, obviously, the office, there's a onboarding process. And part of that, there's a sponsorship profit share, right? That you fill in, bank information, and every month, if you are getting a check, it'll be in your bank account. That's how you get paid, every month.
I think his question is, how do you get paid? Is it quarterly? Is it, how does it? I don't know, and I was here 11 years ago. Excuse me, nobody asked me, ever explained to me how we were paid.
Yeah, great question.
No, I'm talking about how does it, like I have 3 downlines.
Yeah. So let me ask you, I totally understand the question, and my apologies for, maybe my answer was smug and not answering the question underneath it, right? Which is, when you sponsor people, when they close a transaction, right? Say Simon sponsors me, I close a transaction at this office. That month, when the following month on the 21st, for that previous month, they take all the profit that happened for this office. Half of it goes to the ownership group, half of it goes to profit share, and it gets divvied up by how many, whatever my percentage of the office's revenue was, that's the percent of the quote profit share pool that Simon would get.
So it's not just recruiting anybody, you want people that are production.
Producers,
Yeah.
Producers.
Okay.
That's where you see the big bucks.
But when they cap, you don't get paid on this.
Right, I figured that.
Yeah.
Okay. All
All
right, sorry. I just-
Great question. Great.
What cap?
Hey, we love answering questions about profit share. We'll answer this all day long.
All right, let's go ahead and continue. Thanks, Ed. Next slide, please. Okay, so I have to be the bearer of news. Just want to make it very crystal clear. Yes, we're in sales and we do a lot of cold calling, but I also want to emphasize and stress the fact that the National Do Not Call Registry is a crucial and very important that we follow the rules and regulations. We had one of our agents, unfortunately, a couple months back, off money, because it was the individual that was on this do not call list was pressing hard. The regional also got and pressed hard on this, and it was the same individuals that hit us. They're professionals out there, ladies and gentlemen. You've got to be very careful, and they will not stop until you compensate. If they are part of the do not call list, please do not call. You don't want to be in violations. You don't want to go through all the process if you get hit with someone that is on that do not call list.
Just say you're from the Philippines, they don't have to pay me every time they call about my home warranty. Yeah.
Car insurance or car warranty.
Or India. I'm like, can I
Well,
speak
you
to
also have rights too, ladies
I
and
know,
gentlemen.
I'm trying.
Yeah. Okay.
Our insurance covers the lawsuit? Or we have to?
No,
That's
errors and
it, no.
omissions, does not cover.
Really?
No, this is why if you're using third-party platforms, typically they scrub the list. And we as a company have to keep also a list of any calls, and we send out reminders. I think we sent out recently, a name and a phone number to please scrub it out of your CRM or any of your data that you have, because this individual is going and hunting for people to attack, and he's winning because he knows the system. And I personally talked to this guy, young guy, he's probably 28, but understands the law to the highest level. I mean, I was blown away on just how he was approaching the conversation. He's very calculated.
Yeah, there's a guy on TikTok teaching people how to sue.
Yeah, well, the West Side, some market center actually got the same guy, and that attorney spoke on I think it was last week, team meeting, the all team meeting, and he was saying about this individual, and it's the same guy. And the ironic thing is, it's a 310 area code, but the guy does not live in the state. He lives out somewhere in Michigan. Yeah, so be very conscious about that, okay? And if they do fall on that, do not call list.
Facebook.
Yeah.
It's a jerk.
Anyhow, so
Yeah, go tell him.
please abide by the do not call registry, okay? And if you have any questions, there is a website that you can also go to as well. All right, next slide, please. All right, family reunion 2022. So I just came back from Orlando, Florida. So next week, guys, at our team meeting, we're gonna recap and bring some aha moments from the event. Myself, maybe many, Gary, who I believe is flying back, Sonia as well. We all had the opportunity with some of the team leaders. There's Gary, there's Sonia, there's Stephanie, there's Holly, myself, such a great event. The only thing that dragged was the time difference. That was the end, because it's 3 hours difference, but we had such a blast. And just the network of people, my gosh, you know how many people came up to me, introduced themselves, gave me business cards. We had these badges as well where you can scan and all of your information there. It's a great opportunity to network. That's where I get the most value. And not just that, to see Gary Keller, on stage, he's like a rock star, it's just amazing and how he approaches the state of the company. So next team meeting, next Wednesday, we're going to be recapping, bringing some aha moments, some nuggets that we picked up. We're going to have a panelist of people just sharing. If you also watch it online too, if you have any moments that you said, this resonates with me, bring it to us so that way everyone can share, family reunion. Now, with family reunion, also we have Mega Camp coming in August. It's in Austin, Texas. If you ever been to Austin, Texas, 6th Street, such a fun place. We want all of you to go and enjoy. It's only a 3.5-hour flight from here. So,
What is it in August? What is it?
Mega Camp.
Okay.
Mega Camp. Okay. That's probably one of the coolest. I love family reunion, but I get more for some reason at Mega Camp.
It's a weight loss camp.
Yeah.
I mean,
We can all go. Let's represent, right? Let's represent KW South Bay. Now, this was funny as heck. We went to our company dinner, and there was literally a car with a lobster, a full lobster on top of the car. So that's what that creature looks like. This was at Epcot Center in Disneyland too. If you're a MAPS coach, you were able to go into the amusement park, and I thought it was going to be like a mastermind. No, you just go out there and have fun. So we were able to go in there and have fun with the group. So here is our company dinner. So just a great time, family reunion. I believe, and I'm still not 100% sure, but family reunion 2023 will be here in Southern California. I believe it's going to be in Anaheim. So, okay, awesome. Any questions? Family reunion next Wednesday, 12 o'clock. Next slide, please. All right. So Thursday, the 24th, which is tomorrow, May, one of our agents is going to be a panelist talking about the global committee. And it's going to be a great opportunity to see our beloved Maeve speaking. She is part of the Portugal. She lives in Portugal since she retired maybe about a year or 2 years ago. She still does business here in California and lives out there and still does business here. It's the leverage. So she is going to be one of the panelists. So we'd love to support her this Thursday at 10 a.m. to 11:30. And it's Germany, Mexico, Portuguese immigration attorney is also going to be talking on the global committee presence of global perspectives. So let's support Maeve. I'm not sure if Maeve is on the call. If she can add some, I'm not sure. Nat, is Maeve on the call? She may not be. So, okay. But if you have any questions, please make sure to register. If you want us to send you the link, send me an email or Natalie, and we'll shoot you the registration. Okay. All right. Next slide, please. All right. Next up is Chris Rivera with Let US, talking about FHA and VA training.
Yeah, no, sorry. I can't see. Anyway, guys, I wanted to here just to let you guys know, I am doing a training this Friday. I am gonna have it catered, so it's really important to get an RSVP count, because with Lisa's, you gotta give them the count the day before. I don't know if you've had their sandwiches before, but they're excellent. That with some salad. So come on Friday, I'll feed you twice, once with food and once with knowledge. I know with FHA and VA, some people are saying, how are you going to get those offers accepted in today's market where we're having so many bidding wars? But inland, there's a lot of opportunity with this, even in Torrance. And I'm in 2 escrows right now with FHA finance. So it is getting accepted, especially when we're gonna start seeing the slowdown of how many offers are on a property. All of a sudden now the top dog is going to be looked at a little bit better, even if he's FHA. So it's something you just want to brush your skills up with. I want to talk to you guys about spot approvals as well, something that kind of was under the radar for COVID, but that's something that's out there as well to help you on the condos in this area. So come, again, I'll feed you twice. So
It's a must class.
the must class.
If you have a real estate license, you need to know FHA and VA.
Right, exactly. Thanks, Joe. All right, so let me get into rates and where rates are headed. And that's really easy to say up, because they are. They're going to continue to escalate. We'll probably see them in 4.5%, 5% range, maybe by end of the year. We don't know.
Yes.
So there's going to be a lot of gyrations that will happen throughout the year that will cause them to come up and down throughout the year. But the overall flavor is rates will continue to increase. You're going to hear a lot of it starting next month once the Fed starts to increase the Fed's fund rate. That's when people are going to say, oh, rates are going up. No, rates already went up. You've already seen an increase of about 0.5 point just from so far this year, which is what, been 2 months, if that. And so we're going to continue to see that. Inflation is the #1 factor that's going to keep pushing those rates up higher. It's not going anywhere away soon. That's inflation. It's going to be here for a while. So we're going to see a lot of pressures on rates just continue to escalate. Now we'll see some gyrations that will cause rates to go down, possibly a war with, not our war, but Russian war out there. That's probably going to see a little spike downward with rates, which sounds kind of funky, but if you think about it, people are going to be pulling money out of the stock market, put it into bonds, safe havens, so that they can kind of get a lay of the land of what's happening with this war. What's going to happen with the European markets that will affect us, right? So as they do that, we'll see rates slide a little bit, but then they'll get the lay of the land, they'll know what to do, they'll pull the money back out of bonds, and we'll start seeing the rates go back up to where they should be. So these are all the gyrations that will happen throughout the year. Just know that the overall effect is rates are going higher. And that's really important because when you're talking about clients and your clients that you've already gotten pre-approved, maybe last year, well, they're losing buying power by waiting.
Yeah.
And I know you guys have this conversation all the time. Your client will ask you, is it a good time to buy? Right? Every time. I get that question a lot. And my answer is the same that I've been saying for 25 plus years. You should buy when you can afford to buy. Right? You can't time the market. You're not going to. Try to time the market's like catching lightning in a bottle. You will never know when the bottom is or the high, right? Or where interest rates are. So when people talk to their cousin, their uncle, their aunt, their coworker, they're all telling them, oh, values are going to go down, right? Because that's the hope. Well, we can talk about that. You guys know how to combat that. Values aren't going to go down, at least not here in the South Bay. But I can tell you, most everyone out there knows interest rates are going up, right? So now you can talk about their buying power being diminished, and all of a sudden they're losing ground on rate, right? And so I had a conversation last week with a client who didn't want to go higher on his offer. And he felt like, well, the value is here. I'm not going to go this the sale price, right? The guy's putting like 50% down. I had this conversation with him about the separation between sale price and value. Now I get it. You're going above value for that sale price. But in today's market, you have to do that. But what you are doing is locking into an interest rate that's going to be yours for the next 30 years. Are you comfortable with that? And then I went on to tell him, look, I'm going to make 2 statements here that are absolutely correct. We don't know when they're going to happen, but when you buy your house, and somewhere out there in the future, your house is going to be worth less than what you paid for today. It's just going to happen. It happens, right? But also, your property is going to be 125% of what you paid for your house today, right? Both statements are correct. They're both going to happen. But one thing that's never going to change is your monthly payment. And as long as you're comfortable with that, that's when you should eat the deal. So these are conversations that I'll have with your clients when I pre-qualify them. Just let them know there is a separation between sale price and value. We get that. But we know interest rates are going up. And you need to lock yourself into a good rate so that you can sustain that over the next 30 years. And who knows, maybe your rates will go back down to where they were, sub-3, and then you can refinance. So rates are headed up. We know that. The overall market is hot. We're going to see values continue to increase. But these are just kind of tidbits that you can tell your client, let them know the direction of. or to put them in contact with me so I can explain this to them. I can send them graphs of what's happened over the last several years. In fact, rates are actually better today than they were pre-pandemic, just slightly, but just think about that. Just 2 years ago today, rates were higher than they are today. We're pretty close to, right? And 3 years ago, rates were higher than they were today. People are still buying. So lock into a really good rate. So in conclusion, just want to talk about the class again. I'm going to feed you twice. Please RSVP by Thursday so that I can make sure I have the right sandwich count. Other than that, any questions? All right, perfect. Well, I'll see you guys on Friday.
And just to add what Chris was saying, Gary Taylor in stage had a T-shirt that say "Buy dirt, buy dirt." Okay? Buy real estate, buy dirt. It was. I was gonna. You saw that, Gary, right? Buy dirt.
Did you have the glasses on?
Thanks again. What's that?
Did he have the glasses on?
He did not have the glasses, but he had the shoes. I love the shoes. All right, we're gonna transition real quick and we're gonna bring Louie Vazquez with Vazquez and Family Tax Accountant Firm. So let's give him a round of applause, guys. Thank you.
Hey guys, I don't want to take up too much time today. Raise your hand if you've been to a class of mine before. Okay, so want to run through kind of just some tax tips as we're getting into tax season. Right now it's tax season. Now, the majority of business owners, self-employed individuals, something like 50% of them go on extension anyways. But we can at least just kind of go over as we're starting to make money, if we're making money already, if we're trying to this year, what we could potentially do to really mitigate that pain that we experience as business owners. You know, employees, taxes taken care of for them, you know. Business owners, though, we have that pain of actually having to write that check on an annual basis, quarterly basis. So we'll just kind of dive through this. You'll want to look at this on your own. I'm not going to touch every page. I'll touch every page, but kind of fly through it, if you will. First page, you guys, first thing that we want to do is if we have kids in the college age, I don't see this being used very often with college age students for whatever reason. If you have a college age student, I have a little strategy there that we would advise in terms of getting your kid to take a business class. Okay, that's essentially the big thing that they need to do. Take a business class and have them provide you business management advice, okay? Potentially opening up an entity for them, all right? A business management corporation for them, and paying them for those business management consulting advice that they give you, okay? It's a way to basically shift up to $30,000, $40,000 from your name onto a college age student's name, okay? And you're also still able to claim them as a dependent as well on top of that. Just really taking advantage of that college age student. Really an incredible strategy that you can use, and realistically can save you somewhere around $10,000. I have the steps there. If you have an accountant, you might want to talk to them, see like why they haven't told you about this. See if you can potentially implement this, okay? But for whatever reason, I see this commonly missed with those college age students.
You got to raise up your voice. People on Zoom are not hearing.
Okay, I'll talk a little bit louder. How about that? All right.
Yes.
So I don't see this used very often. Something you can do, have the steps for the most part. You'll see that it's a great benefit. It's a great tactic to use in terms of mitigating your tax liability. Let's go to the next page, okay? Why don't you just kind of, yes.
Quick question, if you do that, don't they have to pay taxes on the income you're showing?
Yeah, they potentially would. They will pay taxes, correct. But for them, that's probably their only income if they're in school, compared to someone making money, us essentially. So us making money, we're at a much higher tax bracket, okay, compared to a kid that's in school that's not making any money outside of this income that we're shifting to their name. So they'll still pay tax on it, but for me, that's making money. I'm now shifting about $40,000, let's call it, to their name, okay? So what that's gonna do for me is it's very likely gonna lower me a tax bracket, because now there's $40,000 of less income I'm reporting on my tax return, okay? And then on their tax return, all they're reporting is $40,000. They wouldn't, their tax bracket is no more than 12% at the federal rate. Compared to me, I'm probably in the 24, 32% bracket. So they would still pay tax, yes, but at a much lower rate than ourselves. So it's taking advantage of tax brackets is essentially what we're doing here, okay? That's essentially the game. Taking advantage of tax brackets, utilizing retirement vehicles. That's essentially the strategy that you want to use in the big picture, okay? Page 3, just a quick example of just managing cash flow. That's a common error that I see being missed, is just the management of cash flow. Understanding on that $25,000 commission, let's call it, I have 2 mouths to feed. I have to feed my business as a business owner, and then I have to feed myself personally based off of the lifestyle that I'm trying to live. I have an example here. Common misconception is I made $250,000 this year. Okay, I paid my taxes. Where did all the money go? Okay, the answer is that it all got spent. Okay, and it's just a matter of looking at how it got spent and figuring out what I need to do to potentially adjust this. So I have just an example of what a typical situation is for someone making, let's say, $25,000 on a commission. Where to withhold? We want to withhold on the number, the gross profit number. That's where we withhold. We withhold on the number after expenses. Okay. Then I have my take-home pay. Then I have my personal expenses. And I just have an example of someone, personal expenses, living very, very cost effectively. Okay. You can see I have $250 in meals and entertainment for the month. Okay. I've gone to Ruth's Chris and spent $250 in a night. Okay. So you can just see them, you know, there's 2 mouths you have to feed. You have to feed your business and you have to feed yourself personally. Okay. I have a business, guys. I've been in business for 7 years. In my 7th year in business, started from absolutely nothing. Okay. And now I have 5 employees. I have myself, I have a good business. And it's really interesting how that progression goes. I remember when it was like year 2, and I only had my break-even point a month was $20,000. Okay. And I was like, man, I just got to figure out how to make $20,000. And I figured it out. And then that's like, oh man, I got to hire someone else. Now I got to make $30,000 a month. Okay. And then I have to make $40,000 a month. Then I have to make $50,000 a month. Then I have to make $60,000 a month. Business just gets more and more expensive. Okay. That's essentially how it works. Okay. There's no denying that aspect. And then paying my taxes, that's also expensive. Okay. The best thing to do in terms of cash flow is that personal lifestyle. I practice what I preach. I live incredibly cheap, okay? Because that gives me more cash flow to invest back into my business, either through advertising, either through employees, human capital. I tend to live cheap. That's just how I do, okay? But everyone has a typical lifestyle. I have my splurges. I like cars, okay? I like cars, all right? I like trips. I like them. But, you know, for us, we don't eat out. That's like probably the biggest thing I like to eat at home. But just look at this cash flow example. On the next page, I have a blank one so that way you can utilize it on your day-to-day, month-to-month operations. This is a good accounting system to start getting into place until you upgrade to QuickBooks and then eventually a bookkeeper. This is a good accounting system to have in place on a month-to-month basis, okay? Next page, legal entities, okay? That's your best friend as you start to make money, all right? 7 years ago, when I was working at a firm as an employee, making all of $60,000 a year as a senior accountant, I learned enough and I said, I'm going to start my own firm. The first thing I did was I created an S corporation. I put in the paperwork, okay? I waited 2 weeks, it got approved, and I put in my 2-week notice, and then I was gone. Okay, now I'm into this real game of entrepreneurship, if you want to call it. Legal entities are your best friend. I have a situation here. 3 different entity structures, okay, LLC, no entity, in the middle is the holy grail. You can see the S corporation, all right, and then on the right is the C corporation. These are the most common entities. I'm showing you how each situation is taxed differently, and also take-home pay is different, okay? So this is just a quick analysis just showing you LLC, no entity, S corporation. You'll notice that in the middle, the S corporation for a small business owner, which is what the S stands for. An S corporation is a small business corporation. It's meant for small business owners. The government is aware that when business owners create an S corporation, they're doing it for 2 reasons. 1 reason is to protect their assets, and 2 is to pay as little as possible. It's set up for small business owners, okay? The government just doesn't do a very good job of advertising, okay? If we ever talk off the record, I don't believe my industry should exist. Okay, I'd probably be a realtor just like you all. Okay, but S corporation is for us. It's just a matter of, are you utilizing it or are you not utilizing it? To emphasize that, let's go to the next page. I have an example, okay? I have 2018's tax return. I know we're in 2022. I'm aware of that, okay? 2018 is when they got that tax return. They tried to do it and they did it. They got it all on one page, which is why I'm using 2018 as the example, okay? You can see that this is an example of someone that take-home profit was $125,000. Line 6, $125,000, okay? So they probably made around 200, 225, wrote everything they could write off, and I got it down to 125. Fair enough? Okay. Line 22 is the total tax due. You can see that $33,000 on $125,000 of net profit. So it's real. We should be withholding around 30%, because that's essentially how much we're gonna owe, okay? On the next page, I have an example of what that tax return would have looked like had they had an S corporation, okay? So you can see how this would potentially impact you, okay? What's changed is simply how we're showing that $125,000. I would show it through an S corporation. So line 1 now has a number. We're gonna pay ourselves a small reasonable salary, $40,000, okay? We're gonna pay ourselves a salary of $40,000. And then the remaining income you can see on line 6 is that $85,000. We're taking draws from our S corporation. We're taking dividends is the technical term, okay? I'm taking dividends for the remaining amount of profit. So line 6 still totals 125, okay? Both pages, total income is $125,000. I'm not creating corporations in Puerto Rico. I'm not creating corporations in the Cayman Islands. I'm simply creating an S corporation and utilizing it, okay? And you can see what it does to line 22. Line 22 has been basically cut in half, as you guys can see from the prior page. Now, on that $40,000 salary on the back end, you're gonna have some payroll taxes, about $6,000 of payroll taxes on the back end, okay? But that's on the back end. In terms of your income tax, you can see that your income tax has been mitigated significantly, okay? So that's just showing you guys, we're around $125,000. It's a no-brainer. When you're making about $75,000 a year, that's when I would start looking into it, because there are costs associated with maintaining the entity. Yes.
There are some people on the online, they want to see 22, they want to see the.
Hey, Nat, can you move the
Bring it down. to the bottom.
presentation a little bit?
Scroll down.
No, you need to scroll down.
Yeah, the same page.
Scroll.
Number 22.
No, scroll. There we go.
So then they can
There's
see it,
22.
yeah.
So you can see here, line 6 is $125,000. And in this scenario, we don't have an S corporation in place. We're operating without that valuable entity. For whatever reason, you didn't know about it. First year making money, you didn't know, okay? But in this scenario, you would owe line 22, amount you owe is $31,950, about 30% of that $125,000, okay? So if you are on your way this year to make $125,000, for everybody's goal, $100,000 a year, $8,333 a day or a week, a month, $8,333 a month. A day, it's like $300 a day or something like that, $500 a day. That's all it is, okay? So on the next page, we have the S corporation in place, okay? If we scroll down this page a little bit, we can see I'm just adjusting things. I'm still showing $125,000, okay? But what I'm doing is I have an S corporation in place. I'm gonna have my S corporation pay me, the employee of my S corporation, a salary, a reasonable salary of $40,000. So line 1, W-2 wages, I'm taking a formal W-2 salary. And then the remaining $85,000, as you can see on line 6, I'm taking it as draws. I'm transferring the money from my business S corporation account to my personal account. That's all I'm doing. I'm setting up a strategic way to pay yourself. That's essentially all I'm doing, okay? How I'm paying myself is the difference between a lot of money. You can see if I scroll down on this page, line 22 amount that I owe is only $17,000 compared to the prior page where I owe $32,000, okay? It's a significant tax savings vehicle. And it's, you know, we're kind of we're the bearer of bad news of, you know, this is what you owe, but we can also tell you this is what we can do so that we don't run into this tax hit again, okay? Next page, page 8, just a couple of strategies you guys can take a look at. What I want to know is on the bottom of page 8, purchasing a vehicle, okay? That's as a business owner, that's a luxury that we get to enjoy, okay? So purchasing a vehicle, if you're looking at a vehicle, okay, if you purchase a vehicle that weighs 6,000 pounds or more, so it's a heavier vehicle, probably a full-size SUV, maybe a mid-size might qualify, or a full-size truck, 6,000 pounds, okay? Maybe, and if you need the space for whatever reason, okay, maybe you like the bigger vehicle, you like to be higher up. If it's over 6,000 pounds, you can write off 100% of the purchase price, okay? In the same year you purchase it, despite the financing aspects. So for example, let's say I have good credit, okay? And I go into a dealership, I want a heavier vehicle because I want to use this deduction, all right? I buy a $65,000 vehicle, okay? All right? And I only put down $5,000, $3,500, all I put down. I don't care about the financing, okay? What we care about is that sales price, okay? We can write off the full sales price in the same year you purchase it, okay? I had a construction company last year. By around December, we realized they're gonna have profit of about $700,000. They had a good year. And I said, where do you guys, what's your guys' fleet of vehicles looking like? And they said, yeah, we really want to replace that. I said, great. They went out to a dealership, bought like 3 Ram 1500 trucks that were like $75,000 each, 75 times 3. I'm not good with math in my head. Someone smart here would know that. I'm just an accountant. But it's like about just shy of $200,000, let's call it, okay? Oh, just over $200,000. I was able to deduct that full purchase price of those 3 vehicles, despite the fact that they financed all of them against their $700,000 of profit. And that was a huge dent in their liability, okay? And now they were able to replace their fleet of vehicles with newer cars, so that way they can work better as well. So it's mainly for the construction and trucking industry, but vehicles are getting so big and heavy nowadays that getting a $6,000 vehicle is not that hard. I actually use this myself when I drive a coupe right now, if you guys saw it, okay? Yes, I fit in a coupe, okay? But for my family vehicle, we ended up purchasing a truck, and I use that 50% for business. So I was able to take advantage of this as well. So I've used this myself, right?
So you only have to use it for 50% business?
At least 50%, yeah, at least 50%.
Thank you.
And 6,000 pounds or over, and it includes the weight of yourself and your equipment. So maybe the vehicle is like 5,800 pounds, but include yourself.
Oh, I can tell.
I get a tax deduction for my booty size?
But also, like, you guys probably carry around, a laptop that's 3 or 4 pounds, your signs, some gift, so they incorporate everything that you would carry.
It's not even the first time I want to wait.
I'm gonna have that company.
I know, right? Where's it?
And then let's go to the last page, page 9. So Supermodel probably want to get at least a 6,000-pound vehicle, sort of way. But yeah, last page, this is just kind of just showing you guys. Last page, what I want to show you is go back to the vehicle aspect. It's better to keep track of the amount of expenses you're spending on your vehicle than it is to keep track of miles. That's actually a big misconception, okay? Don't keep track of your miles, okay? I don't know how people even do that, all right?
I know, it's so hard.
So I'm an accountant, but I'm not the best. I hate organization, right? That's why I have employees for it. But just the arduous task of every time I get in the car, start that thing, and then when I get back, turn it off, okay? They look for that if they ever can test you. They want to see a lock, okay? They're looking for that lock, okay? It's so much easier, and it's a lot easier to track just the amount of money you're spending on maintaining your car, gas, your car payment, repairs, maintenance, insurance, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yes.
I bought a new car.
Okay.
And with my new car, I bought that warranty that kind of covers everything, so I don't have any expenses on it. So if I bang the tire and it needs a new tire, they replace it.
Okay.
Can I write off that part of the warranty then? you know, that.
Yeah, they'll write off as an insurance expense, whatever it is, and then, but the thing is though, is, okay, you can also see is, you would wanna add your vehicle as some sort of business vehicle and then depreciate the vehicle.
Okay.
Rather than keeping track of the miles. It's better to keep track of the amount of money you're spending and then adding your vehicle as a business vehicle and depreciating the vehicle than it is to keep track of those miles, okay?
Yeah.
So that's a good question. So that's
So do I can't write off, or do I write off this insurance expense?
yeah, wrap as an insurance expense, and I would also add that vehicle that you're using for business. I would say I want to start depreciating my vehicle, okay? And that's gonna give you a much bigger deduction
Okay.
than just saying I drove 15,000-20,000 miles,
Okay.
okay? Page 10 is just a quick list of 70 of the most common deductions. The sweet spot for your industry, basically consultants, if you will, if I were to categorize a consultant, you want to get the sweet spot to about 50% of your of your gross income. Okay, you want to be reporting 50%. So if I make $100,000 on a year, great, you had a good year. But on your tax return, depending on, obviously, if I'm trying to apply for a loan, I probably wouldn't be as aggressive. But the break that I would do is 50%. So if I make $100,000, I want to report taxable $50,000. If I make $200,000, I want to report taxable $100,000. 50%. Over 50%, that's a red flag. Okay, so you want to make sure you have good documentation. You know, some people, their profit margins because they have a big team is only 20%, 30% because of the amount of overhead they have. But for solo consultants, 50%, anything over 50%, I would be very conservative in terms of do we have documentation, et cetera, okay? Typically though, we get the information from a client, their P&L and the light on their expenses. I would then give them this document here and say, hey, this is everything you can deduct, okay? So not everything applies to us, but circle everything that applies to you, okay? And then go back, make an Excel spreadsheet or something like that and go through your bank statements or maybe hire a bookkeeper, okay? That's typically what we see is the expenses are light, okay? It's better to try to deduct everything, give it to your accountant and then him say, okay, we can't deduct all of this, we can't deduct all of this. At least you're trying to go for as much as you can go, right? Let your accountant be the break, all right? The greatest advice and the greatest strategies don't come from accountants, they come from clients asking, can I do this? And then us saying, it's a good question. I don't know if we can do this. Let me see if this is ever made its way to a court case. If I have a court case, then yeah, we can do it. Makes sense? Okay, and then the last, yes.
So if you have a transaction, okay, for example, you make $5,000 on a transaction.
Okay.
But you had already paid, let's say, $1,000 to help your client or whatever.
Sure.
For the transaction. However, your check, when you get it, that $1,000 is already deducted.
Okay.
From your check.
Fair enough.
So can you use that $1,000 as expense for you, even though you paid? It doesn't show on your check, but you actually paid for it?
Yeah, well, you're getting that, you made the $5,000, but you're getting $4,000, correct?
No, you paid $5,000, but the $1,000 is already deducted from that $5,000.
Okay, so when the check that you're getting, does that check reflect those expenses or is that check you're getting not reflected?
Yes, it's
It
already
does
taken
reflect.
out, right?
So then it's already been accounted for.
So you can't.
Can't double dip. No, you can't think, it's already been
Wouldn't that
expensed.
be better if you get the whole thing? Which one works better for us? To have that $1,000 as a deduction?
You don't want it in your paycheck.
You don't want it, you don't want it, you don't even, yeah.
That's why there's that, I'm talking about that 50%, that's essentially the sweet spot, because for a lot of people, until you cap, especially in Keller Williams' business model, you know, let's say I make $100,000 in brokerage fees, I'm probably about 15 to 20% of that's probably going to the broker off of your GCI now. Fair enough. So, you know, you probably are GCIing 125, net take home check is probably about, let's say 100, 115, depending on the structure I have in terms of capping, okay? So for your scenario though, it sounds like the expenses are already being accounted for. For me, I like to make work easy. So I would just, if they're gonna do it for me, fair enough, right? Because now if I get that full check, now I have to go through the accounting. It sounds like more work. I hate more work. I like to keep things easy. So fair enough. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. On the last page, I have our fee structure, okay? Where my firm, I only have about, we just went through our client list actually, because we're starting to put people on extension that are business owners. Last year we only filed 325 returns. Okay, so I only have 325 clients. All right, so I'm a quote unquote smaller firm. All right, but my kind of business model is basically looking at your whole picture and seeing everything you have going on. All right, taking that time to actually like figure out, okay, what do you have going on here? What can I do? All right, putting a plan in place and showing you, okay, this is how you've been doing it. This is how much you're paying. This is how we want to do it. This is what how it would impact you in terms of your tax liability. And then it's a matter of, does it make sense to work together? Okay. If I can put together a plan and a new system of doing things in terms of paying you, that's annually saving you $15,000, and I'm charging you, let's say, $4,000 or $5,000 a year to execute that plan, I think that's a fair win for all of us. Make sense? But if you're coming to us and we really can't do anything, at most I can save you a couple $1,000s because you already have a good setup in place, probably doesn't make sense to do business together. So I'm kind of looking at your big picture. We don't just get returns. I have a firm across the hall from us. He does 1,000 returns a day. He has the same size firm as me. So he's a quantity firm. Okay, I'm not trying to be that. I'm a quality firm. I'm trying to give our clients the most amount of attention that they deserve and trying to mitigate that liability, because I'm going through a situation right now with someone for the past 3 years in payroll taxes and income taxes. He's overpaid $47,000, that poor guy, right? He's making money, which, but it would have been a lot nicer to have been working with him 3 years ago to have that $47,000 of cash flow, right, over the last 3 years and being able to utilize it. We're in the process of getting that money back, right? We're going to in the process of getting that money back because I can go back 3 years and claim anything that's been overpaid. But it's taking, if you guys can believe it, I have a construction company that I requested $4,000 back from the IRS a year and a half ago, and I still have not found the check. Okay. So, I'm going to get this guy his money back, but it's very likely going to take somewhere around 18 months to actually get that money back, compared to we would have that money of cash flow to use to invest back into your business. So, we see it all, but that's essentially our fee structure on that last page. If you guys are interested in working with us, happy to always take a look at what you guys are got going on and see if it makes sense to work with us. A complimentary review is what we call it. Happy to answer any questions as we close off, either chat or directly here. You're first. I got you next. Okay.
So on the S corp, when you pay yourself, is that like a director's fee, or what does that cut look like in your accounting?
Yeah, it would just be so what you need to do with the S corporation is you need to pay yourself a reasonable salary.
Right.
Okay, a reasonable
That's
salary.
your salary.
That's your salary, yeah.
Okay.
You want to minimize that salary. Okay, right now in Southern California, an average real estate is reporting an income $47,000 a year. So we're paying you a reasonable salary, about $40,000. Okay, it's reasonable. It's in line with what the market reports.
Sure.
Fair enough. If we were doctors, okay, we'd probably be showing 6-figure salaries. But the whole goal of the S corporation is to minimize salary. Ideally, you would show no salary, but then you potentially open yourself up to an audit. So you just need to pay yourself a reasonable salary, something that's reasonable, and then the remaining money that's left in your bank account, that's essentially the excess profit that you have. You can take draws from that at will. You just transfer the money from your business account to your personal account.
It's just called a draw.
It's just a draw. Yeah, the technical term is a distribution, dividend. Yeah, it's a technical term. Okay. So you just take those at will in addition to the formal salary that you're taking on a monthly basis, quarterly basis. We're implementing a formal payment system is what we're implementing. For the majority of people without an entity, a lot of them are just using one bank account, right? I have one bank account for all my business aspects, and then my personal aspects, the money's just there. Okay, so there's no real payment system in place. With the S corporation, that's essentially what that's the new system that we're trying to implement in your day-to-day operations. It's just, how do I pay myself? Okay, that's what we're implementing.
Yeah, no, I'm curious. So then, does that mean, does your S corp run like a C corp where you have to have like a board of directors and all that kind of stuff?
No, you can be all.
And then how does this affect for your college student, like creating one for them? You were saying once we hit that $75,000 mark, it's worth really creating one. But then for our students, they're only going to be making maybe $40,000. You're saying still create that, right?
So that type of system of utilizing your student, you're probably, I want to see someone making at least $100,000 take home. So then I can shift 40 of that over to their student. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, if I'm making, let's just say 75,000 is when I want to start looking into just getting the entity. Okay, that's when I want to look into getting it. Okay, working with it, starting to add an account to my day-to-day operations. Okay, because now I figured out how to make money. Okay, and now I'm making money, and now my next problem is I'm paying too much in tax. As we just saw on that tax return, where I'm paying $32,000 in relation to $125,000 of income, I have a tax problem. Okay, so 75,000 is when I start looking into it. Then, as I'm starting to make more money, and you got to look at the fact that I still need money, right? But if I'm making, let's say, $150,000, I'm probably taking 100 of it to cover my lifestyle and also my taxes. So there's like $40,000, $50,000 left over. That's when we want to transfer it to potentially your kid that's in college. Yeah.
Okay, and one more question, I'm sorry. Does it matter if they're in JC taking business?
Doesn't matter. Just they want to do one sort of business, intro to business class, right? Now they have a business, they have that on their transcript. That essentially was the big thing that when the IRS contested this, that's what the taxpayer basically won off of, is that their kid had a business class in college, despite the fact that he wasn't necessarily majoring in business.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, thank you.
Yes. Oh, actually, her was next, and then I'll have you. Sorry.
Okay. Regarding the legal entity, because I have a client that they own several income properties and they were asking for what to make. I have given them 2 attorneys to go, but for some reason they want somebody that is bilingual.
Okay.
So I was wondering, do you handle these kind of things? Or do you refer? Or?
Yeah. I'm a little bit different, okay, because I know how this whole game works, right? With rental properties, my advice, you're not gonna hear this from an attorney, you're not gonna hear this from other accountants, okay? Because I don't always feel accountants and attorneys have their clients' best interests at hand, okay? But what I would do is I would just have a really, really good, I would be overinsured on my properties, okay? I would have maybe double coverage, okay? Because with these legal entities, especially with rental properties, all right, multiple rental properties, is you're just saying, okay, so now I have to make an LLC. I'm trying to say make an LLC for each one. So now I have 3 LLCs that I just created, okay? So every year I have to pay the state $800 just for having those damn entities in place, okay? So that's $2,400 a year that's going to the state. Then us on back end, we have to report 3 LLC tax returns, okay? So that's another, let's call it $1,000 per entity. So I think I just created legal liability protection with this LLC, but it's coming at a cost $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a year in filing fees, maintenance fees, this fee, that fee, and then if I just mess up on one, I'm getting all these notices, okay? It's better just to be overinsured for a couple $1,000s more a year, so that way if something comes up, because with the LLC, it doesn't cover attorney fees. You're out of pocket that as well if you ever go to court, okay? Insurance policies typically cover attorney fees if you ever do go to court, so that's what I would do. That's a little under the radar advice.
Like I asked to give you a call.
Yeah, I should give us a call.
What
Yeah.
kind of insurance? It's.
Landlord policy.
Yeah. It's umbrella, right?
Yeah, umbrella insurance
The
policy. Yeah.
general, right.
Just be overinsured.
My mother-in-law did that in a tenant suitor and it saved all of our assets.
For the majority of landlords, they have to have that to begin with, so.
And
Just
she's
be,
like over top. I'm like, why are you? And then we found out why she was so.
probably had an accountant that's looking for her best
Yeah.
interest,
And
not creating $6,000 of
Right.
fees of work to do,
Yeah.
so,
And insurance is deductible?
yeah, it's deductible.
Okay.
Any other you had a quick question on the end? Okay. Quick question?
If you have, currently have a general corporation setup, how hard is it to change the S corp, or would it make sense to just,
It could potentially be easy, it could potentially be a fight. So you have to elect that S corporation treatment 75 days after the entity is approved by the state. So you have a 75-day deadline to elect it, okay? Once you get past that 75 days, so if you elect it within those 75 days, it's easy. Once you get past that deadline, we just missed an important deadline, and then it's basically getting the IRS to hear your sob story of why you filed it late, and hoping a supervisor in the IRS agency is you know, a nice person is gonna still accept it even though it's late. So it can potentially be easy, or it can potentially be hard.
Yeah, 'cause I talked to the
Nice.
LTV,
Okay.
Manchester Transport, they said it'd be easy just to change it, like you just need to let them know. But like when
You
it's
change it with the IRS, not the FTE.
yeah, I know, but
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah.
not, but according to them, like, it's not a big deal. But like you said, there's a deadline, right? Like,
Yeah, if it's within the deadline, it's easy, but if we're past the 75 days, it becomes hard. On a side note here, we're kind of talking about the IRS. I would look back at your tax returns and see, okay, you know, did I incur any interest and penalties for whatever reason? Okay, maybe I ran behind. I would write the IRS a letter, and I would say COVID impacted me. That's why I was late. Okay, I had a guy get a $42,000 refund because he was 2 years behind. Okay. COVID wasn't the reason, but that's what I sold the IRS, all right? And God, lo and behold, $42,000 check came back to this guy, okay? So something to do if you guys have ran into issues in the past. Quick question here.
Yeah, my accountant, I ask him every year, should I incorporate? And he says no.
Yeah, okay.
I make. You know, yeah, I should probably incorporate.
She's well over the
Well,
threshold.
Why would
let's
he
just
say
say.
that?
All I know is the
I'm
first thing I
asking him, what's
did,
my benefit for that? Nothing.
the first thing I did, you know, I was my 5th year, the senior time, and I was like, I'm over this employee stuff. And I'm the one that brings all the business in anyways, like, I'm gonna go out on my own, right? But I waited to file that corporation until I put in my 2-week notice. Not only file it, but get it approved. So that's the first thing I did going into entrepreneurship, okay? So I don't know why he's telling me that. The only thing I can think of is maybe he's a little bit, he's just probably just doesn't want to create more work for himself. Maybe he just has enough.
Well, that's not working for me.
Well, I understand.
Now that I see this, oh my God, they've got so much money from me.
How small do you have to be a S corporation before you move into a LLC or S corp or a C corporation?
I would want my GCI to be $75,000. Okay, that's essentially what I've seen where it really makes sense because it's going to cost a couple $1,000s a year to maintain. You know, so.
But how did you get before you cannot no longer can file S corporation?
That's irrelevant. The only thing that's forcing you out of an S corporation is if your business has over 100 shareholders, then you have to convert to a C corporation. So they're not really necessarily looking at income; they're looking at how many shareholders. Less than 100 shareholders is the IRS's definition of a small business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't want to take too much time.
Give them a round of applause. One thing that you didn't share, and I'll make it really brief, is that when you do incorporate, you also get the perks and the benefits of corporate credit. Corporate credit, you know, and you can utilize that for your business. My car is owned by my corporation.
Can you transfer it once I get a corporation?
Absolutely, yeah. Once you pay off the debt, yeah, you can do a transfer. You know, some of the investments that I have are part of an LLC as well too. So there's benefits of having a corporation. So thanks again, Louie. Great information. Appreciate it. All right, we got a couple more announcements and then we are done. I sincerely apologize for being a little late. I think it was great value, right? Awesome stuff. Okay, so this Friday at 1 to 2 o'clock, I'll be talking about mastering your listing presentations. You know, the ins and outs and some great ideas. Maybe I can have some of the top performers come in here and speak on that as well. So next slide, please. If you need a professional headshot, right? If your photo looks like this, like that, or like this, I encourage you to get up.
What? You don't like the dog in the picture?
I like the dog.
Look at Chucky.
But that's not a professional photo.
Oh my gosh.
This is what, Chucky? That's Chucky there. So for a very minimal cost of $45, you can get some professional photography done right here in the Agent Lounge. Okay, so again, if you're interested, please RSVP, call in, and we'll take care of that for you. Okay, next slide, please.
Is that Misty?
All right, so I got Fernando from Homebridge real quick, talk about the team building workout challenge. Fernando. Hey. Oh. Now, that's your.
This is actually a picture from pre-COVID, from your office here, when we did this. I've done this with several offices.
There's Frank,
and,
there's Al.
Yeah.
We have, who else is here? We got some few people.
Some of them are not here anymore, but some of them are. But obviously, guys, I don't want you to be intimidated by the fact that, you know, if you say, hey, I'm not as good a shape as Al is, for example, over there, right? Don't be intimidated by
Yeah,
him.
you cannot compete with
You
us.
know,
You're gonna-
You're kind of like this guy, it'll still be okay.
He's gonna get the better half.
Hypothetically, if you said, oh, I haven't been to the gym in 6 years, you're still gonna be fine. Everybody's welcome. This is an all play, guys. Obviously, some people are better shape than others, whatever, so that's what it is. But the only thing that I will say is obviously if you got hip issues or back problems and things like that, then maybe you can just meet us afterwards for lunch and drinks. So yeah, we are gonna be doing this on Friday, March 18th. We have teams. So Ed's gonna have a team, Simon, I think Sonia, and actually I like your idea. Because some of us are stacking teams already, and I think what we're going to do is pull names out of a hat and divide it out by whatever, because that way it's fair, right? So that way if you have Al, you don't necessarily win. So that's what we're gonna do there. A friend of mine, he owns.
What should we be doing like that?
You're going to be doing, well, first of all, everyone's got to go to the circuit, so everyone's gonna go through it. So you're gonna row. You're gonna do that bike, I hate that bike, nightmare bike where you put the arm and you go, and you have to get a certain calorie count. And trust me, the calorie, oh, it's only 20 calories. Okay, wait, see how long it takes you. Why did you see that? Jump rope, I do high speed, you can do that, which is double unders, which means that every time I jump the rope, it goes twice as fast around me versus the regular. So you're gonna do regular, and if you can, so typically if he says do 100 jump ropes, it's 50 double unders and 100 for regular.
Make sure you speak a little louder.
Oh, louder, sorry, I don't know where the mic is. So
Mic is up there.
the mic is up there. Okay, so there's gonna be probably burpees, there's probably gonna be some other stuff. It's gonna be a combination, depending on how many people we have, that'll determine the amount of movements we have. Okay, so it's sort of, you know, equates.
Basically, prepare to sweat.
So here's what I can tell you. That day you will break even, because whatever you sweat and burn, you're gonna gain it all back at the restaurant. But you will not gain weight, I promise you that. You will not gain weight. So we're gonna go down to Silvio's Brazilian Barbecue. My buddy owns that place. He's already aware. That's what we did last time. And he's gonna, you know, set up a whole area for us. Outside if the weather's nice, so we're gonna wait till we get a little closer. Inside if the weather, you know, is a little bit cool or whatever, we'll hang out there. So the only thing I recommend you do is bring your workout gear, bring an extra t-shirt or workout shirt afterwards. You can change. Don't worry about it with all our smells and sweat. We're all a team. We go down and we're gonna have fun. And that's on Friday, March 18th. We'll meet here at 11:30. The gym is right there on Ferrando and PCH. They're gonna close it down for us. We have full control of it, nobody else. And that's pretty much it, unless there's any other questions.
Need water girls or water?
Water, well, we have water there, but I'll see if you wanna bring cheerleaders, yeah, water. Not a bad idea. But it's definitely, guys, it's an all play. Do not feel like, oh, this is not for me because, you know, I've worked out forever. It's an all play. You guys, everyone will fit in just fine. Yeah.
Not with back surgery.
And then I just want to give some of these away for whoever wants.
Yeah. Whoever didn't get one earlier.
Oh, by the way, I am extremely jealous of your write-ups because I don't even get to write that out. I'm W2, so yay, winning.
A combination of W2 and also W9 as well. So, yay, winning too. All right, so Fernando was gracious enough to bring us some goodies. So what should be, I don't know, questions, whatever.
Burpees.
A burpee? No.
What's a burpee? Never heard of it.
No. This would be about you, not about me. I'm going to show you my one color on that day.
How about tax questions? That's good.
No, it should be real estate related. Let's go with
Something you learned at the KW in Florida.
Well,
Answer they should know.
anything you guys want to throw at me that
Does everybody know what, the benefit of a homeowner's exemption is?
that's a very good question. Does anyone know?
I know, so I'm not gonna play.
Well, you can play. There's plenty of goodies here. Anyone?
$6,000, right?
Well, it's actually got several benefits.
Okay, tell us.
So the first one is you save, they take $7,000 off your value of your property, so your taxes are about $80 less. It's not much. But in order to use any of the propositions